All right. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you for coming tonight. I hope everyone's in pretty good shape after yesterday's celebration. Um, yeah, so my name is Arjun Sahjpaul, full stack developer, and thank you for joining me. I'm really excited to talk to you all about this project that I've been working on called Respitely.TO. So here's a quick overview of what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. Um, Start off with a little bit of the homelessness in Toronto. I'll explain why this issue is important to me. Problem statement and solution. Then I'm going to go over the app, the key features, and then some of the highlights like the meals timeline, meals map, the development process, and stack I used. And then I'm going to go through a demo and then explain what's coming after. So yeah, the homelessness in Toronto. So at any given point in time, it's estimated to be over 9,000 people that are sleeping outdoors or in shelters or in emergency respite sites. Um, there's the shelter system itself is at 98% capacity, and I can attest to this having gone through the data nearly every day. I can see just how overwhelmed and how serious of an issue it is. Um, the subsidized housing waiting list, 85,000 and more, and the 18.5% of Toronto households experience food insecurity. Okay, so why this issue? Why is this important to me? Okay, so forget my nerves. So towards the end of my software engineering program at BrainStation, I was looking at ways to apply my newfound skills. I was talking to my uncle who works in digital, and when he asked me what's something good that you can do with your skill set, um, that question really resonated with me, especially considering my mother's strong belief in helping others. And so this August marks the 10-year anniversary of my mom passing. So I began reflecting on the values which guided her life and the same values that she worked so hard to impress upon her children. So she's always been this guiding force in my life. She taught me how to be grateful for my blessings, instilling in me the importance of compassion, empathy, and helping others who need it most, especially those who come from very little, just as she once did. So her parents immigrated from India when she was just a child, um, and her poverty-stricken youth was lived right here in Toronto. She was forced to leave home at a very young age and with her siblings. She was the middle child. And she lived on the streets for a long time without a place to call home. Some of my most vivid memories are of her teaching me about the world, gathering donations for women's shelters, collecting donations for food drives, and even spending time at various shelters here. Her younger brother struggled from a plethora of serious issues, including mental health, for many, many years, and frequented many shelters around Toronto, with which we would go and visit. But there was one shelter I can vividly remember on Queen Street in particular. So her unwavering commitment to making a difference in people's lives is what inspired me to do this. I'm 100% certain that I wouldn't be the person that I am today and without my mother, and I wouldn't be where I am today without my father. These are just some of the memories that had me ruminating on the current homelessness crisis and what I can do about it as a developer. And so when I discovered the daily shelter occupancy data, it's an active and updating data set maintained by the city of Toronto, everything just clicked. So here's a problem statement and the solution statement that I put together. So the homelessness crisis is riddled with multifaceted challenges. One such obstacle is the access to timely and accurate shelter information and drop-in meal times. There's a lack of centralized, up-to-date resources for those in need, and that can cause a lot of friction and difficulties. So by seamlessly integrating modern design and functionality with an intuitive and reliable user interface, I believe such an application holds the potential to revolutionize the way individuals experiencing homelessness can access this critical information. And so this platform aims to provide more than just basic information, but also a sense of security during times of intense vulnerability. And so a little bit behind the name, I went through a couple of name changes. Um, and right now I've settled on Respitely. So respite is defined as a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. So Respitely is the innovative web app designed to help individuals who need it. Designed to help individuals in quickly identifying vacancies at shelters, drop-in meals, and essential resources across Toronto and the Greater Toronto area. So my concept for this is to bridge this information gap. Repeating myself a little bit here. By delivering the latest updates from the API from the city that I mentioned, and also live meal scheduling. Okay, so here's some of the screenshots of the key features that I've developed. So we have the interactive map, which allows users to find the nearest shelters and meal programs, improving accessibility and convenience. Latest shelter updates, so users can access and dynamically sort the most recent occupancies that are publicly available for shelters, reducing the amount of time and effort needed to navigate this information in the system. And for dynamically filtering, you can filter based on what sector these shelters are they serve. So like some of them are women's shelters, some of them are for families, and some of them are mixed gender, that kind of thing. And some of them are transitional or emergency, and the difference is whether you need a referral or not. And so I've added that dynamic filtering so you can get the latest updates from the last week with these filters. And my most recent one, this live drop-in meal schedules. So detailed schedules of drop-in meal programs, including times and locations, help users plan their day more effectively. So here's a screenshot of the meals timeline. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, it's a scrollable list with from the start of the day towards the end of the day, and it's got all of the meals happening for that day. And the highlighted green ones are the ones that are happening right now. And then also on the right-hand side, just as kind of a quick view, you have the ones that are in progress instead of going through the entire container, because it gets pretty long. I've accumulated a lot of resources. Shout out to the Toronto Drop-In Network. And then these are the ones coming up next. So coming up next in the 2 hours. And this is a preview of what the meals map looks like. So I kind of, tried to take some design inspiration from the goats, Google, and I looked at their because I mean, they have their whole research team into like what the best user interface is. But yeah, so I tried to take some notes from them and design it like that, and I think I'm very happy with how it turned out. And so this is the kind of experience that you'll get with the meals map. Okay, so the development process. So yeah, what I like to say, I'd like to stand up here in front of you all and be like, yeah, like it just works. The user-centric design, simplicity. But no, like this is what actually happened. There were moments where, I'd be saying in my head, I'd be like, okay, like just call me Tim Apple now, because what I just did, it changes everything. And I should definitely lighten up myself for figuring that one out. And then, yeah, 3 days later, I hate it. It doesn't even work anyway. I need to kill it and just mass delete, and I need to start over. But, that's part of I don't look back on that like I look back on that in a positive way. I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from those kinds of experiences. And I think that's kind of what that's just part of the learning process is what it's all about. And I mean, I included a little snippet here on the left of this piece of code. This gave me, I've got beef with this code. It took me a while to figure it out. And so for the non-developers out there, what this, what's it called? This little piece of code here, it's got to do with, it's for the meals, and I'm creating an object for them, and then I'm also I'm correlating the time of the day, and then I'm figuring out what time this starts at, and I'm going through like the formatting for which I've added it in the JSON file. It's the whole thing. So the tech stack. So for the front end, the usual suspects: HTML, SCSS for the styling, JavaScript, React, and the logo. I custom designed in Figma myself. And then the open data, of course, and for the backend, Node and Express, and also the API. And for the mapping, I decided to go with Mapbox, which has been a very pleasant experience. So if anyone's like kind of looking into like, whether I should Google Maps or any other ones, I highly recommend Mapbox. It's really solid. And they have a very generous free tier. Yeah. Okay, so this is what my backend server spits out. And you can see just how many, like there's a lot. There's a lot of these updates. This is about 7 days worth. And so I was really excited when I saw this initially because this is really, really powerful. You can do so many things with this. This is so the API from the city about the shelter update. So each one here, like each one of this, that's one shelter update. And it'll tell you things like, it's a little bit complicated. I mean, I don't, obviously I'm not on the API team. So there's a couple of redundancies that I'm kind of confused at. Like they say the name of the shelter twice. And then it's also like the name of the group, but I don't understand. I don't fully comprehend their back end and decision making with that. But you can see things like the number of occupied beds, unoccupied beds. You can even see like the number of unavailable beds. So that means like ones that are just out of service and repair or just damage, like whatever, something happened to them. And yeah, same thing for capacities. So this one here, it says null because it's a bed-based capacity shelter. Yeah. And so this is the site. Try to keep it, simple as possible. Top right, you got your basic nav. That's just got quick links throughout the site. It's mostly a SPA, since SPA stands for a single page application. And it's kind of growing out of that right now because I mean you can only go so far down before infuriating your users. The only page that kind of stands outside of this SPA design is the dedicated Explorer drop-in map. So yeah, quick links to the shelters and the meals, so we can go to the shelters. And so this is what it looks like. Just see here. And so right at the top tells you what it is. You got filters and just a little bit of info about how it works, how I've decided to handle all the data that I'm getting. So the results, because I figured if it's over a week old, it's outdated. And if they don't have any occupancy, it doesn't matter. So to keep things relevant and to have the biggest impact, I've auto sorted the results to be first sorted by the most recently updated, and then they're again sorted by the ones with the highest occupancy. And so, yeah, if you kind of go down here, you'll see like 6, 4, 3, 3, 3, and it'll just keep going down. And this is like the example, the filtering that I was talking about earlier. So let's say I'm only looking for a bed. So you can click on beds and it will say here, only beds. Or you can go for rooms and it will show you only the rooms. And for category, you can be like, okay, well, I'm with I need a family shelter. And this is Sojourn. I don't know how to say this one, but they update. Some of them don't. And I don't know the reasons why some of the locations don't update. It could just be just chronically they're chronically overwhelmed. Um, but this is for families. And then let's say, okay, I'm looking for a women's shelter. So you can hit that. And here's one updated yesterday with one. And if you click on it, bam, it'll show you where it is. It'll show you how to get there. And it's kind of blocking it, but you can see it on the bottom, right? Yeah. So it's got the all the quick info that I took from the server side that I showed you earlier, and I cleaned it up and I make it super digestible as possible. And then even if you click this, it'll tell you how to get there. And yes, I am using Google Maps because map APIs are very expensive. But yeah, and then so we can go back, and as you can see, we just reset this to all. It goes to about 34 pages, and that's about 7 days worth. So it is pretty active. And going on to the second one. So this is the Toronto drop-in meal tracker. So they're grayed out here because they're done. They've already happened. But and I looked at this earlier. There is one left today. Snack at the Sistering, and it tells you the address. And same thing here. You can click get directions, and it will open up in Google Maps, navigating you there. And also it pops up right here. Just turn on my location. Um, hmm. So I've never had this happen. It might just be here for some reason, but usually I enable location, and you can right here it will show you exactly how many kilometers away you are from it. So when it's really full and like around 4 o'clock, this entire thing is really full. There's at least 6 or 7 happening right now, and there's 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 coming up next, and it'll be like 11 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 2 kilometers, and so it's just very, very, very easy to see. Okay, bam, 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 bam. That's closest to me. So I imagine when you're looking for food, you know, when you're when you're in that type of situation, you're not planning you know roast beef sandwiches on Friday. Like it just doesn't work like that. They're probably looking just for the next meal. And searching for that probably comes up when they're hungry. And so making this process as simple as possible, I think, is super imperative. And oops. So yeah, here's the drop-in map. So you can click a location here, and it'll give you all the quick info about it. And I'm working on also linking the container that I showed you before with the daily meals to link it to the map, so you can be like, okay, show me this on a map or something like that, and it'll pop up and it'll show you this, and you can also see the hours of operation, um, and their meal schedules. Yeah. So, and this is just a quick resources section. I initially wanted to, initially when I was started building this thing, I had this vision. I was like, I'm gonna create like the best resources section in the world. Like it's gonna be so comprehensive. But I did a complete 180 on that. And the reason is because I don't see a point in reinventing the wheel. And there are other sites that have done that and they've done it well. Um, and so and that helped me solidify like the direction that I wanted to be, that I wanted this app to go in, which is more live focused, as live as possible. And so kind of outsourcing all these links to send people places, it's just I didn't think it fit with the structure or the goal of the app. But what I do have here is maybe a select few niche resources that I found interesting or unusual, that I was, surprised to find. So like this community fridge is Toronto. I don't know if anyone's heard about that, but so they have like fridges around the city, and you can. I've never actually seen one in person, and they seem like a pretty small operation, but there are fridges in the city that you can go, and they're just outside 24/7, and they might have food in them, might not. But I just think that was a really, really, really dope thing to do. Um, Too Good to Go is an app. Some of you may have heard of it. Basically, discount food. So it's like the whole thing where expiry dates, So it's like they'll Cobb's bread or whatever will have to clear this bread. It's like that bread's good for days, and instead of throwing it out, they sell it on this app, and it's gotten quite big now. And you can get it for like some seriously discounted rates. Um, Toronto Rent Bank, that's a initiative from the city of Toronto to help those who can't afford their rent. Legal resources. This one is a pretty cool site too. Something I found called Everyday Connect. They have a very, very comprehensive list of resources. And it's kind of when I found this when it really helped me figure out that like, oh, I don't want to reinvent this. Like these guys are doing it and they're doing it well, and I'm going to let them do it. Um, but they have all sorts of really, really good resources, and it's well structured. It's very clear. It's very simple. Um, it's even mapped out and everything. Like these guys are good. Everyday Connect. I really, really liked what they did there. And then assaulted women's hotline. Women's causes were super important to my mom. Um, so I had to put something there for that. Um, Benefits Wayfinder also was a recent addition. It's a guide to government benefits that can help put more money in your pocket, and very streamlined, very straightforward. It'll help you uh, it'll help you figure out kind of what you're eligible for. I thought I've never heard of something like that before, so that was really cool. Um, and then next, yeah, there's just a general about us section. You can explore it if you're interested. Let's see. So for the next major feature, uh, this is something I've been talking about a lot, to people. I think the next obvious step is a meals timeline and database portal, because right now, this on the left here, that's how I kind of have it set up. It's formatted similar to how I did API data that I was getting from the city. It's just a JSON file right now, but what I think is a great idea is if I can get this, I put it into a database, and then I create a login portal. And by doing that, then I can reach out to these services that are like these organizations or providers that are in charge of all these services. And I'll invite them to create an account with this platform. And then when they make changes to their schedules, or when they're opening later because the blizzard's that bad that day, they can just update it here, and like it'll instantly be updated in the timeline, and it'll instantly show on the map. So that's something I'm really excited. I'm still figuring out how to do. Uh, and here's just so what people are saying. I threw it on Reddit, and it got a lot of love. And so a lot of people, it was super overwhelming. But a notable one here is, and I didn't put their username because I didn't want to dox them, but uh, said, this is cool. I worked on a similar project with others through Civic.TO a few years back, but it's a great community if you want to connect with others. And he said, you guys are all a great bunch. Yeah, so I've been invited to do some media. So tomorrow morning, 6:50 in the morning. I know. It was supposed to be 7:20 too, and then they called me today. They're like, it's gonna be 6:50. And I'm like, really?
I'm gonna be on my way to work. I'll listen to you. Okay. But you on the radio.
Please don't. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's cool. And I'm really happy to kind of have that interest and like the interest and support that I've received from the community. It's been a lot. It really, really has. In the best way possible. And yeah, so I've also now Toronto and Yahoo have also reached out about doing articles and stuff as well. And I think that's it for the Q&A. And I'll just thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for giving me your time. And I've spent the last couple of weeks here and I've had the pleasure of meeting you all, and I felt like really welcomed, and it's meant a lot to me. So thank you.